not disturb.
Yeah, I put mine on do not disturb.
I love, oh yeah, I meant to do that. Thank you for reminding me. I love clicking go live. I feel like I'm like cheering it on. Go live, go.
Yay! Use the other string.
Yeah, I already had YouTube muted, so I don't even have to deal with that part now.
Yay!
That was nicely in unison.
Yeah. We practiced.
No, we did not.
People think it's creepy if we say we don't practice, Lisa.
So hi everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
How's everybody doing after a whole like month of since we were last together?
Pretty good.
Right. Yeah. Woo, you guys are we're all super energized tonight.
Which is surprising because I had a very long day today.
Same.
All right. What's everybody working on? Let's go with that one.
Nobody
I
jumped.
found a new bracelet pattern I'm trying out. So I'm making a beaded bracelet pattern I have never made before.
Nice.
I am attempting to make 4th of July foam earrings. We'll see how this goes.
I am making a present for somebody, actually. I'm going that I put off till the very last minute. So
is it something that you shouldn't show in case they see it?
No, they won't watch the stream. So I am very early, too early, Thursday morning. I am flying to Tucson for 5 days to spend some time with some of my dear friends. And while we are there, they're going to have a little party for their first grader who just learned how to ride a bike and learned how to swim. So they're having a hero party for Sarah. And so I am making Sarah a little bit of herself as a superhero.
Aww, that's the best.
That's
so
cute.
sweet.
Well, I am messing with some wire wrapping, twisting stuff, and just practicing some different shapes with them so I can try to figure out how to make the earrings, the like variety of earrings that I want.
Nice.
That I want to make. Oh no, really super energized. I'm like gonna fall asleep sitting here.
Okay,
it was like half this size when I just unwound it and it like sprang out.
Yes.
I so often work with like dead soft metal, so yeah, when I get like half I can't remember right now what it's called, half hard, soft, whatever, halfway in between, then it tends to kind of throw me off.
Medium? Firm? I don't know.
No, there's dead soft, there's hard, and the one in between is like hard something or something. I don't remember. Okay. So we have some fascinating stories this week.
Yeah, really.
I'm confused at the end of the first one. Lisa had to explain it to me.
I did.
What? Sorry.
At the end of the first one, I got very confused, and Lisa had to explain it for me.
Yeah, I have to like look at it because my.
I'll let you know when we get to that part of this.
Nope, I ended up too far. Oh yeah, that's the part that I was thinking of. So, Erika,
yeah,
you gave a nice little summary of the Hound before we were live streaming. You want to summarize it again?
Did I give it on the live stream? Can't remember if I said that before we.
It wasn't on the stream.
It wasn't on the stream.
No, because I thought right at the time, oh man, I'm not even streaming yet. It's a perfect summary.
So I actually, like, once I figured out what he was doing with the Hound, I found it very amusing. Because, like, if you read the notes, I kind of guessed at it at first, and then I read the notes and I was like, yeah, I was right. Which is that he was parodying his own genre to an extent by just seeing how excessive and ridiculous and over the top he could make it. Like there's a sense of humor, like, I would say, within the goth subculture, where you're laughing at how ridiculous you're being, and everybody around you is like, oh my goodness, that's so spooky, and you're just like, I know, I did it on purpose, this dramatic. And that was what this story felt like to me. So the Hound was about a pair of friends who basically, because they were really, really bored, decided the only way they could really cure their boredom was basically grave robbing for sport. And so they had like this whole room that they decked out. And of course it was like deep in the dungeon. It was all the things. It had like glowing, it was all the things. It was just, that was the point where I was like, I think I know what he's doing here. Yeah, I'm right. But they had like stuffed corpses and all kinds of stuff that they'd stolen from graves, from everything possible that you could think of.
Some of those descriptions definitely had me cracking up.
And this was how they got their kicks. Well, this is the story of how they stole something that literally came back to bite them. They
I enjoyed that way too much.
So they stole from a grave that had a measure of reputation around it, if I'm remembering right. And they stole a little jade amulet that looked like a hound, and like it kept leading up to the weird stuff kept happening to them. But they were like they when they first realized it, they were like, oh cool, now this is happening. It was so funny. It was exactly that same kind of humor. But once spooky stuff happened to them, once they realized that spooky stuff was happening to them, they were like, oh yeah, all the spooky stuff is happening to us. But ultimately, like, these were it was a monster and it came for them. And at first, we thought maybe it was a hound, but the little twist at the end, because the necklace was shaped like a hound, but the little twist at the end, that he was going back, eventually he just decided to go back and put the amulet back where they'd found it, because lots of people were getting killed. And so he goes to put it back, and turns out that it wasn't a hound that was awakened by the little hound amulet. The corpse itself was the evil creature that they had awakened that was killing people.
That is a very good summary.
You're welcome.
I honestly, like, the over-the-top stuff in this made me laugh, but other than that's why I was sitting here going, wait, what was that story again? I'm like, it did not grab me
I
much.
was so confused.
It was like so much stuff hung on the wall, it was hard to see the actual room, but the stuff was all to a very particular taste and effect.
Yeah.
So,
Karen, what were you confused about?
I had misread the last sentence, and I had interpreted it to he was going to shoot the bats, which to me made no sense. Like, why would they end the story off saying he was going to shoot the bats?
No, he was going to shoot himself.
Yeah, that's what
Because
that's what
Lovecraft,
because he'd
doing
rather
suicide.
eat him.
See,
Yeah.
It was funny because when I was reading this story and we got to the point where they dug up the grave and you saw this amulet that he used to wear around his neck, is what they said. I was like, I bet you if they remove that amulet, it's going to be that thing. I bet that amulet was there for a reason. And it was like, I called it.
Yep. I remember when I was reading it several weeks ago now, toward the end, as he was, oh no, it was like in the middle. I was like, why does he just keep like trying to escape this guy? Why does he not go put the amulet back? And Like eventually he did, and I was like, okay, thank you. It took you way too long to reach that conclusion.
You even burned down St. John's house, like.
But I mean,
let me move 5 times first.
These guys were essentially like the horror movies idiot college guys from a frat. So
yeah, they were. It was really funny.
Yeah. I made a thing. I can't.
Oh, nice.
I can't solder the ends together right now, but I made it.
Yay!
Does anybody have anything else to say about the Hound? Because I really have not much to say about that.
I kind of wish there was an actual Hound.
Familiar
Everybody,
with the other
what?
story.
Wait, what? Both of you said something at once, and I couldn't understand any of it.
Hey, Lisa, what? Just kidding. Lisa's laughing too hard. Hey, Karen, what?
Well, I kind of wish that there was a Hound. Like I heard the Hound, and I was looking to a really good like Hounds of Baskerville like story.
Right.
Yeah, that was the only thing that like I did have to like go back and reread the last like 2 paragraphs because I was like, wait, was the Hound this guy's pet? Is the skeleton? No, wait, okay, same creature. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Took me a minute.
What I was saying was this sounded very familiar with the grave robbing and then understanding the signs of do not touch the dead stuff.
Do not touch the dead stuff.
Like, you know, the necromancy story about them trying to, like the Frankenstein one.
Yeah.
Trying to bring something back to life, and then
The reanimator one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like it's had a very familiar feel to that one. I was like, yep, definitely written by the same author.
I agree. I actually like blended them in my head for a minute when I was trying to remember it tonight.
You guys noticed
this is the one about the guys who did it. This is the one about the guys who did it for the aesthetic, which just I'm dying over it. I think is the best thing.
The other one was the guys who were obsessed. This one was the guys who just did it for the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Karen, what were you saying?
The Necronomicon gets mentioned several times, at least in his in these stories. Like it just keeps reappearing.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a common theme.
It's really interesting because it's clear. I mean, I knew this before reading any Lovecraft, but like he basically created his own connected universe that almost all of his stories could be perceived as being set in. And so he has these recurring books that are part of his fictional world, these recurring fictional places that get mentioned in different stories. And I think that's really cool. Like he doesn't make much attempt to actually link the stories, but you'll see names of monsters, names of books that are just assumed to be real within his universe. And I think that's really cool.
The fandomy geeky person that I am loves that. The hyperlogical jerk in the back of my brain is immediately going, but was he trying to make it the same universe, or was he just trying not to have to think of more things?
Oh wow.
Maybe
Ouch.
both.
I mean, also as a writer, like I know that feeling. I don't want to think of something else. Using this thing from that other story over there. I never got that story anywhere anyway. The rats in the walls. This one, I have words.
That one drove me nuts. Like the first 2 pages, I felt like I needed a thesaurus. Like the guy just sat there with a thesaurus, just like I don't understand half of it.
I love his style of writing, and I love learning new vocabulary, but I definitely sit there with Google up in front of me, just typing in words I don't know.
I'm not that smart. You are, and
you're not going to convince me you're not. Anyway, well, does anybody want to give a summary of this, or I can?
So I don't know if I could do a summary.
Go, Lisa, go.
So basically, it's about this man who buys back his old family estate and then completely renovates it. And learns the local legends about how his family was completely crazy with Satanist rituals and cannibalism.
They were a whole big piece of work.
And once he finally moves in, with the help of his son's friend, his dearly departed son's friend, helps him find the cause of the rats in the walls, I guess.
The really interesting thing was, I don't think there were any rats in the walls.
Me either.
Okay,
so he was the one who kept hearing it, and I think that he was slowly. I think that he was slowly descending into madness. Yeah. Probably. I mean, we can say there's some supernatural stuff at work because clearly, like, there had been bad stuff going down there.
Also because it's Lovecraft.
Also, yeah. But like, that was just how his madness was manifesting. The really interesting thing was, though, that the cats heard it. So I'm voting for a third way in between. I don't think he's descending fully into madness, although he does get there by the end. But I don't think it's natural. I think there was something supernatural connected to the rituals that he was aware of because of his family heritage, and that he could tap into. And cats being cats, they could sense it as well. So it kind of faked out the whole cats are interested in rats thing, and it tied into the whole, like, you know, people talk about how animals and babies can see, like,
right,
extra, you know, spiritual things that we can't, kind of thing.
Sensory perception.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I think that he might have been leaning into that idea that we were faked out thinking it was rats because it was the cats that were getting excited about it. And he thought they were rats for the longest time too, for the same reason, but actually it was something else. That's my theory, but it's definitely a theory that leaves itself open to interpretation.
I like that. I also, and this is what I was going to ask, all of you. And it's like jumping right to the end, but I don't know that there's a lot more to talk about with this than the end, or at least without talking.
Yeah, it's all a build up to the end.
Yeah. But where he kept seeing the rats, those few times, like, he thought there were rats, but there was nothing there, and then he started seeing them, but nobody else started seeing them. But it was like the cats could see them. I was wondering, hey, Becca's here!
Yay!
I'll let Becca finish joining, and then I'll go back to what I was saying after. Excuse me.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Mommy, can I say hi?
I want to say hi.
To the internet. Hi, Jelly Bean.
She said hi, Jelly Bean.
Why are you talking to her?
I'm talking to Auntie Kay because we're having our book club. Why are you talking to her?
Thanks, Julie.
What?
Like, why are you talking to her?
Do not go insane with them.
So, Becca, are you working on a project?
I am. I have to grab my I guess my template. I'm gonna make some masks.
One of my kids just went running through the house really fast and shook the floor.
Oh,
okay.
I love having such a stable, solid house.
Okay. We have paper over here. Somewhere I had paper. Once upon a time.
I have a mask
right,
template.
You guys talk for a minute. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay. Because it's time for our book club. Why are you gonna have your book club? Because. Why are you doing it with her?
I think she likes Auntie.
She does.
She be a little sassy today, I guess.
Oh yeah. I don't think she had a nap today.
Ah.
So we're very much a sassafras. Oh, my Lanta, this kid. She's too much. She's too much. What?
I forgot it was muted.
That's so pretty.
I love it, but it fell off the door when I came back in.
Oh man. What,
Like
baby?
the screw is it's like a like the drywall type, but the thing it goes into.
Yeah.
Oh, you want your water?
Becca, she hard to hear over.
Sorry.
But the screw is designed for holding like something relatively flat against the wall, so it's not long enough to make the plastic spread out the way it needs to. Anyway, yeah. I was just about to say something. So I designed this and I put it all together, but my sister Katrina did she cut it out on her cry cut for me, and she does stickers and things. So if anybody wants something from her, she is you can find her at Etsy, the Etsy shop Stitch and Witch, and I'll put the link down below. Stitch and Witch.
Okay.
And I'll put the link down below. So Becca, as you were
Yes.
coming on, I was just starting to say, as we're talking about the rats in the walls, and we were talking about the different possibilities of what was reality, what was insanity, what was anything. So yeah, so one of the things that I had thought of, because this place was standing unused for like a long time.
Oh yeah.
Like the rats would have long since finished making their way through whatever they were feeding on down below, which I don't want to think too hard about. But I was thinking that it might be the ghosts of the rats.
Oh.
And that he could see
Yeah.
the ghosts.
Oh, definitely.
That's
Especially since he seemed very intrigued by like sidekicks and stuff like that. So it makes sense that would lean more toward that.
Becca, just before you got on, Erika was talking about the possibility of whether he was like there was a supernatural force causing him to completely go insane, and he was seeing them because this thing was affecting him and making him go insane. But there, like Erika said, there are so many possibilities of what the ending could mean.
And it's like clearly part of the point is that we would sit around guessing at what it was. Like,
I love that. I absolutely love that. Like, well, I love that. I say that, and then I'm like thinking of all the exceptions. I love that when it still feels like a satisfying ending. I don't love that when it feels like it just stopped.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just talking
like a cop out.
Have you ever read The Giver?
I have, yeah.
Oh, that's in school.
Yeah, it was also written by somebody who lives in the town I was born in.
Oh, that's cool.
I love that book. I love it so much. I only just found out that like after when I read it in 8th grade, it became a quartet. And she wrote 4 more books, but the second of the 4 books came out the same year that I read it in 8th grade. Oh. So I hadn't heard about it. But I'm planning on getting that as soon as I can because I need more things to read. Anyway, the reason I mention it is because in a Facebook group that I'm in, somebody had mentioned it the other day, and we kind of got into a debate about the ending of that.
Oh yeah.
And for anybody who we give spoilers for the book we're working on. I don't want to give spoilers for that for anybody who hasn't read it. Highly recommend. But
I'm gonna reread it.
It seems like the thing that my teacher told us that the author had actually said was her intention with the ending was extremely depressing. But now that I know that it's a quartet, the ending that he told us was her intention could not be true.
Right.
With how the quartet continues.
I actually, when I was teaching it with middle schoolers, I actually dug into a little bit of what she had said about the ending, and she wanted it to be open-ended. She wanted people to make up to figure out what it meant to them. Basically, there was no specific way she meant for you to interpret the ending.
See, I was wondering, the teacher who I had that year. Most of my favorite teachers I've ever had were English teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow he managed to be an English teacher and one of my least favorite teachers ever. He was almost like gleefully morose and delighted in telling us, nope, they all died, or nope, this, whatever. And
he must have loved Romeo and Juliet.
Thankfully, we were not covering that year. That's what he told us when he wasn't out in the hallway flirting with the math teacher. We didn't learn much from either of them, really.
That tracks.
But anyway, it's interesting having like the different open-ended things, but partly because of how my teacher blurted out the supposed author's intention that he swore was in the teacher's book is the thing that she said. And it was very depressing, and it was he again seemed to delight in telling us very depressing, dark endings of things. And so it might be the way that he said it, but even when I first read it, like I liked how I thought that where I thought that it was going from there, and liked my own mind's interpretation of it. But I still wanted just a little bit more. Yeah, which is good because it's a quartet, so now I can get more. But
I never finished. Just be warned, I never finished the second book in the quartet because it starts with completely new characters, and you just have to be willing to read it as a new story. If you expect it to be a continuation,
I remember so much of The Giver, even though I have not read it since 8th grade. But I don't. I haven't read it in so long that I'm not going to continue through it until I reread that first.
Feels like a new story.
But I just, kind of had that impression from some of the summaries that I was reading.
Be careful.
So anyway, that ending feels just a little bit less satisfying to me. The ending of North and South feels
You sit in Daddy's seat.
a little bit less satisfying because it kind of reaches a point and just stops. And it's like, and now you know. So you don't need to know anything else. Don't need to like ease your way out of this or anything. It's just like climax and stop. And so those kinds of things, like even when I love the stories, I don't love having endings like that. But like this, where it's open-ended and it lends itself to discussion, especially when I had people I was planning on discussing it with, and it doesn't feel like I need more from it. It's open-ended enough to keep me thinking about it, but it still feels like the story actually came to its conclusion.
Very much so.
Same like with the Hound, like you could obviously assume that he was going to commit suicide, but they didn't come out and say it.
So like the rats on the walls, it's not what happened at the ending that's up for question. It's how he got there.
Yeah.
The mechanic.
But it's how he got there that you don't know to question like that until the ending.
Right, until the very, very end. Yeah.
Which is why it's so hard to talk about, like, without talking about the ending at the same time that you're talking about the rest of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to wonder, was there really something that half ate the body, or did he do it?
Or, as I go back to with so many of Lovecraft's stories, is he just completely insane and he thinks all of this happened and none of it did?
It all happened in his head. He never had an estate, nothing. It all happened in his head.
Well, I think another aspect to look at too is the conversation of like manifestation versus what's actually happening, because there's a whole thing with like whoever believes in like ghosts and stuff like that, that things start to happen if you believe that they're happening hard enough.
Yeah.
So like if that was being kicked off by all the hearsay in the village, that makes sense and with that too.
I was sitting here going, what was the mythology I was hearing that from recently? Oh, Dungeons and Dragons. But it's a big thing in Dungeons and Dragons that in like some of the more established worlds, not like the homebrewed things, but it's this big thing that like the gods like this god didn't exist, but this person worshipped them until they came to exist because of that. Which is a fascinating take that until Dungeons and Dragons I had never heard of.
Well, it's also kind of what happens in other mythologies, like in actuality.
Yeah, like people expect to see a thing and then things begin to happen. Yeah,
I can see that.
It's like that famous line in Santa Claus too. Seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing.
Yep.
And so if
you still have to see this place to know it exists. I mean, what movie?
I don't know that we have much. I would believe that theory for this story more if we had a character who was presented as having a history of madness or interest in the occult or something like that too. He seemed like a fairly ordinary person.
I still maintain
brought on the madness. That's how I feel.
Well, yeah,
I felt like the place brought on the madness.
I still maintain that I think that I do think the place brought on the madness, and I think that it was the rat's ghost that he was seeing, and I think that his dreams were like other variations of seeing the ghost. He was seeing like things that his family had done, and like genetic memory kind of thing. All the supernatural influence there. So like that's what I just always come back to the option of, or did it even happen?
So that reminds me of like Ender's Game is kind of like what the dreams reminded me. Like in the second book of Ender's Game, they have that he's on this planet and he sees the ants that he had been fighting built some of the simulations from his game.
Go sit next to her, please. So
And
that way I know you're safe.
So it kind of like it's almost like they were trying to telepathically, the rats were like telepathically getting to him in his dreams. Like, I don't know. It reminded me a little bit of Ender's Game too.
I can see that.
Okay. What if the rats are actually like the ghosts of the creatures, the semi-human creatures that were killed? And he just
saw them in miniature.
Well, I mean, ghosts.
No, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
that's interesting. I like that.
I mean, that definitely coincides with a lot of belief of like spirits trying to warn you of stuff too. It's very in line with that, with like spirit guides and things like that. So that very well could have been that for him. They were being like, hey, bro, this is going on.
Because my brain is ridiculous, I kept getting distracted throughout the story by the name Captain Norris.
By the horrible.
Yes. Oh my God.
I kept getting distracted from all the horrors by the name Captain Norris.
Every time it was in there, I just pictured this cute fluffy cat. This is
from her egg.
Yeah.
So
I renamed him.
Yeah. What did you rename him?
Walter.
Okay.
Walter wears a vest and he has a plaid bow tie.
Because I'm not saying that name. I'm sorry.
Possibly a monocle. Yep.
Possibly a monocle.
That name that he used does not exist, and the cat's name is Walter.
Apparently, Lovecraft actually had a cat named that.
I'm not.
Was it a black cat?
Yeah, probably.
As he described this one.
With yellow eyes, probably.
I have a black cat, but I call him my house panther, and his name is Tosh.
Yeah.
and not racist stuff, unless the Vorlons consider that racist. But they're from Babylon 5.
I told Marcus that I want to get another cat, and that I need to get a black cat specifically just so that way I can name her Morticia.
Nice. Awesome. I love it. Oh, so what I was starting to say, the reason I get distracted from explaining my distractions.
What? You, Marcus's sister? No way.
Believe it or not, this is my second day, for the first time in my entire life, my second day on ADHD meds.
Nice.
Oh.
Clearly they're working well.
Congratulations.
I think they're not quite, I can notice a difference, but I think they're not high enough yet, honestly. But no, my Jane Austen loving brain was blending together Captain Wentworth from Persuasion, Mr. Norris from Mansfield Park, and I had to actually look it up because I'm like, why does, like, it's not Captain Norris, right? Why do I keep thinking of that every time I see it? Even though, like, it's spelled with a Y in Norris.
Yeah.
I knew the spelling was different, but I was like, why do I keep thinking Jane Austen with this? And it was because I was blending those two together.
That's fair. I can see why. I mean,
yeah,
that fits.
Ow! What? Hey, no
Sorry.
hurting. No
I just
getting
stabbed
injured.
myself in the cuticle with my needle.
Ouch.
Yeah,
you're trying to torture yourself to get truth out of you.
I was poking myself with my X-Acto knife. It's okay.
No injuries. None.
See, mine is, I think I'm just subconsciously punishing myself because I keep forgetting to actually get tracing paper, so I don't have to use cardstock for
so before we go on to the next story, I do want to take a moment to say that I'm wearing a shirt that was a print from Erika.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I don't know if people can see it. I was going to say it's hard. I just wanted to get a general idea, but I was going to read it. Yeah. So it has the octopus holding 8 guns and the cat holding 2 guns, and the cat's telling the octopus, "You're 1 gun short, amigo." Because 9 lives.
Yeah. Yes.
However, I just need to know how many rounds are in those guns.
Yeah, people went way too literal on that when I first did that. I'm just like,
I just figured he could fire all 8 at once. I just figured he could fire 1 shot from all 8 at once, and the cat would get a shot off before he had a chance to fire it.
You are way overthinking this joke.
Did not have to overthink it. It springs to my brain on its own. So, I was trying to do wire wrapping of different Celtic knots, and so that's why, like, I need to use my jeweler's saw to saw through this so that the ends match up right, and then solder it together. And well, for what I wanted to do with it, although I could just twist it and turn it into a necklace too. But
those are cute.
Some of the other ones that I was trying to do is I was trying to think through some of the other designs, and a lot of them I'm gonna have to solder before I start twisting. I realized. So
I'll be right back.
I can use my solder knife, which is I can use these for use that with these, but I have still been dealing with enough dizziness and such that I figure using the torch for soldering things, or like, I don't know, making soap and using lye or anything like that is probably not a great idea until I fully have my balance back.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
The festival.
Yes, the festival.
Weird little story.
Yeah. And this was one that the story was weird. I mean, even for Lovecraft, but it was, what am I trying to say? It had a lot of that beautiful language that I love from him. I don't know how his descriptions are like, if I read that from like any author today, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you are being way too flowery here. But reading it from Lovecraft, I'm just like, I love how he writes this. So I enjoyed the descriptions of things a lot, did not get much one way or the other out of the story. It was kind of a bit of a letdown not to find out what was further on.
Yeah, it's like that really bothered me too. Like I thought it would go even further in, and then it's just like she ran and she was found adrift. Like,
so before we talk about it too much, without a summary, I'm going to give a quick summary of it. So somebody never figured out quite of what ancestry, but their ancestors had always celebrated Yule in a specific way that they were going back for. And when they got there, there was a lot of mystery and intrigue and walking along, and yes, in silence, and then walking through snow and not leaving footprints even from themselves. And they led them to a cavern, I guess, where they did the rituals, but then like all of these weird creatures came and they flew off on them, and he refused to fly off on them. So we never found out what was further than that. And then he did we ever find out what was actually under the mask? Did he say that and I missed it?
I have
a suspicion, and we can talk about it in a minute, but I just didn't. I was like, did I miss that though? Just in case. But he sees what the guy who couldn't talk and was like writing stuff to him. He sees what was underneath the wax mask that he was apparently wearing, and it freaks him out, and he jumps into the disgusting river and gets found half frozen by somebody and brought to the hospital. So it's weird.
Honestly, so Lovecraft.
like this story is not any less gross or more gross or less weird or more weird than the first story, but I find the aesthetic of the first story entertaining and appealing, and I find the aesthetic of this one off-putting. It's just cold and chilly and quiet and slimy.
See, I would describe the first one as slimy more than this. It kind of felt like drawing you to the brink of a mystery.
Yeah.
And then being like, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that was anticlimactic.
Maybe the horror he's trying to leave us with is that there's still this weird thing going on. Like, I read the notes on this story, and
yeah, I read a lot of them.
He apparently, one of the things that he was trying to do with this story was to create the idea that was to touch on the type of horror where there might be creatures that looked and passed as humans living among humans that weren't actually humans. He was kind of trying to tap into that idea.
Okay.
Apply some of that.
This is back.
Another really interesting thing that I read about this one was that he based it on a specific New England town to the point of lots of details, and it took him several years to craft this story and several trips back and forth, as opposed to a lot of these other stories where he had a nightmare and he woke up and he wrote it all down. And I'm just like, this one's the one he spent years and multiple visits.
Well, I mean, as a writer, you know that often the thing that you have done all the research about and all the background that you know is the thing you end up having cut out of the story because it kind of lessens the actual impact of the story for some reason. And you end up like, I just did like 5 days worth of research and it became one word in a sentence.
That's fine. That's fine.
So I could see like this feeling that with that feeling of like, I kind of lost what the point was. I have something like that. So there is a legend in New England of the lost city of Norumbega, and it's one of numerous worldwide legends of a city of gold. And I was researching it. It's mentioned in a book series that I really love. And so I was researching it more. And I started wanting to write a story with like all these different cities of gold are really the same place, and all the different places that you travel to it from are that, you know, Norumbega here, but you can't find the city because it's a doorway. You have to find one doorway that transports you to this one golden city that is what all of the worldwide lost city of golds are. Lost cities of gold. Anyway, I have not written this because I have gotten so entrenched in the research of all of these different mythologies of lost cities of gold that I can't seem to get anywhere beyond that research and actually have a story to tell. So I feel like that might be what he did with this. Like, I've done all of this and all of these things with these New England towns, and I got to do something with it now. I mean, I would love to be published at some point, but he was like writing to get deadlines and that and get things into journals, sequences and things. So I have to say, just the words. Out of the unimaginable blackness, beyond the gangrenous glare of that cold flame, out of the Tartarian leagues through which that oily river rolled uncanny, unheard, and unsuspected, there flocked rhythmically a horde of tame, trained, hybrid winged things that no sound eye could ever wholly grasp or sound brain could ever wholly remember. Just like the story felt like it made no sense, but I just love those descriptions.
All of these stories very much had so much fascination into, honestly, I think, vampire lore, because all of them had something to do with bats or things that are associated with that whole macabre horror base. And I feel like he was kind of going on a trip for that kind of a thing.
I feel like Lovecraft went on a lot of trips.
Add bats and spiderwebs. There you go.
What?
Yes. Bats and spiderwebs.
Add bats.
That's
and
all you need.
There you go. Yeah.
That's all you need in life. Bats and spiderwebs. Maybe the occasional rat.
Yeah.
I will pass on the spiderwebs. Or the spider anything. In fact, in the Dungeons and Dragons game that I'm supposed to be doing with my children and my niece and nephew and putting on this YouTube channel, I made it canon worldwide. There are no spiders.
There you go. Listen,
My
I've
husband would love
fought a
that. All his
Shelob.
characters are arachnophobic.
I've fought a Shelob, and it's not fun. Do not recommend. 0 out of 10.
Yeah. The thing with the end of this, it was just, I didn't really get the point of the translation of the Latin into English thing. Like the rest of it, I was like, this, it felt intense, and then it felt like a letdown, like I didn't get to find out where anything was going. But and I don't know why that would feel more like a letdown than like the one with the fish, the Dagon.
It's just his whole gasp it was actually real moment.
What? Yeah.
It's his whole gasp it was actually real moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I read it and I was like, why are you telling me? I was trying to figure out where this ancestry was supposed to be from, and if Lovecraft actually had a specific ancestry in mind. As he says, something about his ancestors coming from the going north from the something about orchid opiates, and So I looked that up, and apparently those kinds of orchids are native to Turkey. But then I couldn't figure out, like, if they went, why is the place that they have this ritual in New England? So I was like, is there a different place with orchids? Were they like from South America, ancestry or something? I don't know. I probably got less out of the story because I got too hung up on that. And he probably didn't even have a genuine place in mind. He was just grabbing random things to say. He did too much research on New England. He's not going to look at the rest of the world. Somebody said something like, and I don't know who it was.
So something like what?
He did often.
What, Lisa?
I said which he did often. Grab from like nothing. Oh,
I only heard like 2 syllables of it. So I was like, what was that?
What words? What are they?
I genuinely do not know right now. When I can't hear things, if like from the computer, I don't know if the computer speakers or the sound of what I'm listening to is too quiet, if my ears aren't working well enough.
I'm probably just quiet.
If I just can't hear it over the ringing in my ear. So it gets to be another mystery.
Mystery for the ages.
Yay. Oh, I have to show you guys what I just got. Gotland Yard puzzle book.
Ooh.
It has real cases that they've investigated at Scotland Yard, and then like all these like different puzzles to solve related to that in some way. And it just came today, so I'm like, I haven't actually done anything with it yet, but I'm excited. Ooh, this looks like a game of Clue.
Ooh, logic puzzle.
But yeah, it's got puzzles like that all through it.
I think logic puzzles
specifically
are my favorite.
on real Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard. I don't know. I think I just blended Scotland Yard and Scotch Guard into one thing.
Maybe.
But anyway, yeah, it's based on real cases, and I'm excited. I'm way too easily excited. This wire that I'm messing with today also just came. There's a couple different things that I had ordered from Amazon at the same time. And I was just like, I have the wire I wanted to use to practice making shapes.
Just making shapes.
I've been stuck at home for a long time.
Once upon a time, I had a spool of thread, and then I never saw it again. The end.
What?
Oh, thread! So many times.
I thought you said something about a school of something, and until I saw the thread, I was like,
just me casually misplacing my things. It's normal.
I do that.
Same. I lose my stuff all the time.
Is there another way to exist?
I don't think so.
Or at the very least, is there another way to craft?
No.
Hi, what's up?
Well,
you guys get to see my puppies today. Look at this.
What? Bella!
Come on, baby. I can't.
Oh, baby.
Bailey is being shy. This is Bella.
Oh my goodness.
I have to
So
stop
cute.
randomly breaking into song every time somebody says something that makes me think of a lyric, because
Why? That's so
for live streaming, I'm gonna end up getting sued at some point.
We just read an entire story about rats in the walls and nobody broke into song, and I am very proud of this entire group.
I got that one out of my system earlier.
My niece was singing it earlier today. I'm good.
Yeah, I had already gotten that one out of my system somewhat deliberately. But also, I sing those songs all day, every day.
Oh, both of them.
Bailey. These girls are twins, and you're my babies.
They're so cute.
They love me.
them.
They love to destroy my stuff too. I got
Sounds
this one
about
on
right.
my desk a little bit ago.
Nope. That's not the way it works.
These are the ones that. This is the one that destroyed Dobby. By the way, I don't remember. A month ago, I had Dobby.
Yep.
It was this one. It was this one.
Destructo. Well,
I think somebody just sensed that other creatures were getting attention and she wasn't. Come on, you can say hi if you want.
Aw. Let's say we haven't seen her all day.
Yeah.
She is.
They've been pawing at my leg. They wanted attention.
I'm about to go away for 5.5 days. They're really
Oh
not.
no.
You can tell.
They're going to be taken care of by someone who will give them all the attention. She will be staying here, and I'm gonna come. But they're gonna think I abandoned them forever.
Yes.
Typical behaviors.
There. Well, I didn't get anything else done, but I made it into a
Cool.
pendant.
Nice.
I made a very large.
Can I finish my painting?
I got my blue stars cut out on
Ew.
stuck to fabric and glittered edges. That's all I got.
Nice.
It's better than nothing.
Circle.
I did want to show you guys. This is from my other shop. The Fiberhaven Mavens. I swear I know how to talk.
That's a tongue twister of a shop name.
Mm-hmm.
I love the name though. I was not the one who came up with it, by the way. It's my sister, the same one who did that has Stitch and Witch. She does her knitting stuff on Fiberhaven Mavens, and I do crochet stuff. And we have a friend who does both. Who the three of us run the shop together, and we were recently looking for things to post that we had ready to sell, and I did not know until I was looking through my stuff that I have. I didn't know that I still had one. I thought that they had all sold.
Gandalf the Grey.
Oh my goodness.
It's so cute.
That's so cool.
He has a
I
little
love him.
bag
Very
over
nicely done.
here, and he has a little cape.
That's amazing.
Stuff.
And this is not wood. This is paper mache,
Uh-huh.
essentially.
uh-huh. Very cool. Oh.
But he's still here. He didn't sell when we posted the stuff that we had ready to sell, so he's still here. If anybody needs a Gandalf, I'm just saying.
While we're
Everybody
plugging-
needs a
While we're
Gandalf.
plugging shops, there's like 5 days left on my calendar Kickstarter.
Yes. Can you after
And
we
I have one proof. The Gandalf calendar, she's still working on it, and this is a very imperfect proof. The little cartoons are too big, and most of the color art is too small on most of the pages, so there's still some adjustments that need to be made.
can you
But
can
I
you
think the calendar- what?
can you hold it up a little? I couldn't see like half of it.
This is the Classics with Cats calendar. I think I've
love
been
it.
working on some of the paintings for this while we've been hanging out.
Yeah.
And then there will be the Gandalf one too, but I did not get a proof of that today.
Hold that
because
thought for just 1 second. I have to grab it.
being a bit of a pain. Yeah, it's fully funded, so everybody will get their stuff.
No.
At this point, it's just functioning as a pre-order link for people who want the things.
That's exciting.
Another Erika.
Yeah, I don't carry those anymore because they hardly sold.
That's
Yeah,
depressing.
I got it in one of your second sales because I wouldn't have been able to at the time. With
Begged for tote bags and I put them up in crickets. It was really unfortunate.
I love it, and I've used it a lot, and I'm going to make a liner for it because otherwise I'm going to wear through it.
Right. I kept a great Gatsby one and definitely poked a hole in it with a pencil. And
Well,
it's
I often use it for carrying crochet stuff, so if I have like a pair of scissors in there with it.
Yeah.
No, tear right through it.
So Erika, can you send me the
Kickstarter
link
link?
to that Kickstarter so I can put that in the description also? I know it's somewhere that I backed it. I can access it somewhere, but I don't have to go searching.
It's coming up on done. It's fully funded. The things are in production as we speak. Yeah, they'll ship out at some point next month when everything's done. So,
yeah. So I think that about wraps it up. Next week, I forgot to look.
wait, not next week, but like 2 weeks from now, right?
Well, next
Yes.
What time we have our
week
meeting,
that we meet,
which is
May 10th. Why is this being weird?
You'll have a 12-year-old niece by then, Caroline.
No. She is still 6.
Mom's a good age.
Also, Lemuel is still 6 also. I don't know how he and Kaylee ended up the same age, but he is definitely not 10. Okay, so next time we're reading He and Cool Air.
Okay, sounds good.
You said heat and cool air.
I'm intrigued.
Okay.
I've been wondering this whole time, out of all these different names, we're like figuring out how to pronounce Dagon and Celiphaeus and Nyarlathotep, and then there's one that's just called He. And I'm
Right.
like, I gotta know what led to that being the name instead of all of these crazy things.
No.
So
And then we'll finally be on the Call of Cthulhu. Finally.
yeah, I've been a little bit excited for when we get to Call of Cthulhu, because
That's the one everybody talks about.
it's the one that the book is actually named after. Like, it's the one that everybody talks about still. Well,
Right.
it's the creature that everybody talks about, not necessarily the story.
I actually, there was a little bit there. I hadn't read it yet, but there was a little bit there where I was thinking about doing the Call of Cthulhu for October for the Classics with Cats calendar.
Ooh.
But I really wanted to do the Dracula piece, and I'm glad I did.
I'm glad
just
you
have to
did
do
too, but
another
I
one
like
in
that
a
idea also.
I'll just have to do another one in a few years.
Yeah, that sounds right. So, Erika, do you still have the Edgar Allan Poe, the Telltale Heart design? Is that one that you still sell, or is that?
Oh yeah.
I don't know what you phased out and what you haven't. So
And
I check frequently, but I can never remember.
I'm phasing out the Tolkien.
No.
No, I already knew that.
Which I'm not going to get into now. It's going to be slow. It's going to be slow and gradual. But yes, I am phasing out the Tolkien.
I can't.
But no,
I fully understand, because no matter how much I love them, I'm running out of places to put the cards.
Yeah, I have
but
absolutely
no, the Edgar Allan Poe one.
Yeah, I have
the Telltale
absolutely no
Heart.
plan to discontinue that. I think once the mugs that I have in that design sell out, I'm gonna do something different. I think I'll do a bigger mug with a red lining or something. But the t-shirts are still.
I have to get a bigger. You're gonna make me buy another mug, aren't you?
Depends on if you want an 11
I love
ounce.
the big mugs.
Okay, yeah.
So
I just have to sell the 2 11-ounces that I have in stock before I can order
right.
them.
Well, the reason the mug is actually the reason that I mentioned it.
Oh yeah,
because one of my kids, my older son Lemuel, got a drink, and was walking past me, and he looks in, and he goes, "This is juice in here, not blood." I'm like, I'm so glad you told me. Only in this mug would you feel the need to specify that.
So I have a Dracula mug that I got a red lining for. Yeah, it's pretty great.
I love that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Did I tell you about the bath bomb that I got? Like shortly after I got that mug, I can't tell you the shop name, I don't remember it, but I found an Etsy shop that does like really unique shaped bath bombs. And I got one shaped like a human heart.
Oh, cool.
And it was shortly after Jonathan had just gotten me a bathtub tray. So I took this human heart bath bomb and used it, and sat there drinking tea from the Telltale Heart mug and eating dark chocolate.
That's great. That's fantastic.
I was like, this is how you're supposed to. And I think I was reading, I feel like I was reading like something.
You were just like going
something Jane Austen-esque, like something that did not mesh with the rest of it. I have to go back. I took a picture, so I'll have to go back.
Reading and put on some thematic music, you'd be just as good as those guys in the first story there that we read.
I just needed a dried rose on the tray.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, well, we are going late today. But I think that about wraps everything up, unless anybody has anything else to add.
My bracelet is a tangled knot.
What? Oh, tangled knot.
Somehow knotted it right here, and I don't know how.
Naughty bracelet.
I don't want bracelets. I do.
All right.
It's okay.
I am going to end